Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Hear you, but I can start the show. Good evening, and welcome to Breakfast. Not Randall, your contrast is fine. Randall, unfortunately, has the flu. He can barely talk. So I'm going to try not to talk too much and interrupt anybody. That's really difficult for me. To my immediate left is Mr. Brandon Chain. How are you?
What's going on? Good, man.
Excellent. And then on the far left, you all know that guy. He's the mouth of the South. Mr. Robert Davis. Call me Robbie, please.
Hey, congratulations on your fantasy football win.
Yes, I'm happy.
These guys are making fun of me because I'm having ridiculous amount of technical difficulties, and I am Indian, which is essentially an oxymoron upon itself. My little one had the phone in the bath, so it's destroying me. But you guys can hear me. I can barely hear you, but that's why I'm hosting. Today we're going to talk about the playoff games. And yes, I am proudly wearing my Raiders hat. Not proudly. We're probably going to get smoked. But second time in the playoffs in the last 20 years. So I actually can wear it without hanging my head for now. I got like another, day? Also, I am making the drive to Cincinnati tomorrow. It's pretty, I can't say effing. It's freaking cold up there. First, it called for snow, and I don't like snow. Brown people don't like snow, especially brown people from California. But now it's just going to be like 28. So I got that going for me, which is nice. We're going to go through each game against the spread, and I'm going to ask these two dudes, what their picks are per game and why they think that. And so there was a joke made earlier that we're going to have a 30-minute or an hour show, and because I'm going to be 15 or 20 minutes late, it'll probably be a 10 or 15-minute show, which actually happened. Although I was here on time, I had technical difficulties. Oh, jeez.
Randall cannot, but he is able to tell us that I sound like I am in a barrel, which is unbelievable.
It's much better now.
It's better now?
Yeah.
All right. This is what I get for sober today. I'm driving tomorrow. Plus, as a host, I figured it'd be a total S show if we were all buzzed, especially me. Let's jump right into it. Let's do the AFC first. And, I mistakenly talked about the Titans, but the Titans are the number one seed, and you don't play with the lowly peasants that play this weekend, the wild cards. My first question is, Chain, do you like the new playoff format? Do you like 17 games versus the old one? Has it added excitement at all?
I'm indifferent at this point for that question. It's hard to really tell. It's the first year of it. It hasn't really added that much more excitement for me. I think it's allowed.
But can you talk about it like you're not a Titans fan and you guys aren't the one seed and
this is the second year
playoff field, you'd be fine.
Well, this format, but then he threw in the 17 game.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
So 17 games really hasn't, made a huge difference on me. Now, as a Titans fan, grabbing the number one seed, obviously with our health situation, it's been all year. It's nice to have that bye week, that first round, try and get everybody a little bit more healthy.
It's going to be crazy interesting. We have 6 games. I think it's weird that you can't finish 500 in the NFL now. Randall's about to talk or say something. He's going to try.
No.
He's audio only.
File this under the I was wrong about my first opinion about this category. I thought, hey, the NFL is perfect at 16. It is perfect at 6 in each conference. Don't mess with perfection. But to keep the one bye keeps teams competitive more towards the end, which I loved. There last Sunday and Saturday and Sunday, that was sports porn, man. Like that Sunday, so much on the line, all the way up to overtime in Sunday Night Football.
Last game of the season. That
was great. It was an all day at your TV. I can't get up. And so, I mean, it makes the 1 seed more important. It makes home field more important. I didn't think I'm not a fan of like in NHL where half the teams make the playoffs. Now we're at 14 out of 32. So getting closer to that, but I think they limited that, and I really like it. And then, oh my gosh, this weekend, Saturday football, Sunday football, and then Monday night, all playoff games. Good God, it's going to be awesome.
I'm sure our wives are stoked. Like my wife, like with these reschedules and stuff, she was like, this week, Wednesday is the only day that there is no football. Oh, and Friday that week. But they had the Tuesday reschedule. There was a game Monday. So there was like a college game Friday I was watching. When is football not on? And I said that's why we love it. For 6 months out of the year, that's all there is.
And to clarify, Brandon, more football when they're getting paid, better. More football when they're playing for free, not better.
Well, they're not playing for free anymore in college.
You talked about this, Robbie, quite a bit. I mean, the NFL is easily the king sport in the country. It's the fastest growing sport amongst women, or were the number one growing demographic over the last few years. If they're making this much money and whatnot with a system that seemed to work for 50 years, 70 years, whatever, 60 years, why change it?
Well, the answer to all your questions is money. This is when these TV contracts come up, when Fox, NBC, ESPN, you're looking at Amazon and Google and Apple all getting into the Hulu. They're all getting into this bidding war. They're $9-10 billion revenue a year or profit. I guess it's profit a year. It's going up and up and up. 78 of the 100 rated TV shows, and then that was an Olympic year, and the Olympics made up I think another 10 of those, and then one college football game. That's it. That's the TV market. It's astronomical. So more playoff games. I bet Monday night football wild card grows a huge number. They've already got people conditioned to it, and it means a hell of a lot. And people are gambling on that to make up for their Saturday and Sunday losses.
I agree entirely. You know what? There are 2 more games this weekend, and exactly what you said, with everything involved and everything that's tangential. I can't pronounce things, but I think that's correct.
And let me just back up. Like,
it's going to generate billions. I mean, not just millions, but billions in Vegas and everywhere.
Well, and let me just say one thing about TV and eyeballs. We all know, huge college basketball fan. So Saturday's Tennessee at Kentucky. And I was like, oh, okay. Wait, it's a 1 o'clock game? I was like, why are they playing at 1 o'clock? And then I looked at I was like, oh, they literally have to, because they have to get that game in before the NFL starts, or else it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
I think this is like the perfect storm, between the extended season now. Now you've got these hype playoffs coming in. All these streaming apps and YouTube TV, all this stuff coming in, contract years with TV contracts. There's one less preseason game. The players, you're getting more TV with the NFL competitive game, not a preseason. So it's like a perfect storm for them. The timing's right. I think the audience, the fans are excited to watch more football. Like Robbie said, more football is good, especially in this aspect. And, it does come down to money, and these owners are going to just roll around in it here. when these contracts come up.
One of the most.
I'm with you entirely. Before we get to the games, I kind of had that dilemma last weekend that we've discussed. I'm not going to pose the question because we can talk for days about it. But as a Raider fan, I was in the championship game in our fantasy league. Oh, yeah, I was going to be condescending and be a jerk and be like, who won again? I forgot. But, yes, I won the league. I was only 8-7 coming in, had a lot of injuries and dumb moves, but I caught fire at the end. I've lost, I think, to Lenny 2 years ago when my team was much better by record, and he just destroyed us all. I think Kirk Cousins was his quarterback, and Cousins was unconscious. But back to the original point, I was torn between I have Justin Herbert as my quarterback, and I had Hunter Renfrow, but who was I facing? Chris, or the guy you guys call Criminal, had Waller. So, do we root for fantasy or do you root for your own team? Our pot, has 4 digits. So, it's tough. I always am a Raider fan, unfortunately. And if I've stuck with them through the most miserable 20 years, this is the second playoff appearance in that 20 years. I mean, I'd still rather the Raiders win, but I kind of got lucky with this one that the Raiders won, and I won the league because Chris started Taylor Heineke. So that pretty much did it. He had Rodgers, and he had a choice to make. He had Devontae Adams, and he basically had to sit them both. And, we are a league. My buddy said, first question, why do you guys have a championship game in Week 18? And
because there's a
I
week
didn't
18.
mind it this year, but if we played last year, if it was 17 and last week was the championship game, I get slaughtered. So I don't want to get down that path because we'll talk
Can I
forever.
make one more point on the NFL and why they're so smart? It'll be quick.
I heard some of that.
Okay. So, and just one more point to the NFL's genius and what they've done. We grew up with Ronnie Lott, Ray Lewis, and like a defensive. You watched NFL because it was you get smacked and big hit and take them out. Because of player safety, they've switched it. And now it's such an acrobatic game. And it's almost a beautiful game. Like a cornerback twisting their body to block a pass, or a receiver reaching out, catching the ball, 2 toes in, and landing. It's just an acrobat game. And I think that's also why the viewership among women is going up because, well, one, exactly how long it lasts. It's a 3-hour game. My wife hates watching college football because it takes 5 hours. NFL, she knows exactly how long it's going to last, and that attention span can get there. All right, well, we can move on now, so I'll shut up.
Dude, I'm totally with you in that sense, and I say, dude, one reason why I'm not the best host is because I talk too much, and sometimes my wife says I like to hear myself talk. But to your point, quickly, I'm amazed by the athletic ability. Defensive linemen running like receivers or running backs, and linebackers running like cornerbacks. It's crazy. But the toe tip thing, the toe drag, it's amazing to me. Like Cooper Kupp led the league and fantasy world in scoring. That guy always gets his feet in, like to the point where the refs don't even bother reviewing some of his catches. I remember Willie Gault, back before you guys were born, took ballet. He took ballet back in the day. And it's just a diversified, you're not 2 trains on the same track running into each other anymore. So, that's a great point. They're freakishly athletic, and everyone can appreciate that. I want to jump into the games. I want to get both of your takes sort of quickly. I'm not going to ask for like 5 points, but I just want to hear why you justify your pick against the spread, and then also straight up who you think is going to win the game. I'm going to start with the game that the NFL thinks is a marquee matchup that Big Ben, the A&E biographies are going to be going crazy. Could be his last game. I'm not a fan of the guy, but I get it. And Steeler Nation is insane. So right now the Chiefs are a 12.5-point favorite. Chained to the Steelers cover.
No, they do not.
Why?
First off, I don't think they can keep up scoring wise. I know they've got a pretty decent defense. Pass defense is all right. Rush defense isn't so great. I think this is easily a two touchdown game. It's in KC. I mean, the Steelers weren't even in the picture. They were at the bottom of the AFC North, and they got catapulted up out of nowhere. Everyone was waiting to close the curtain on Big Ben and his career. And then now all of a sudden he's like, now I got to go show up in KC and try and continue this another week. That's just doesn't look good for him. I think KC's in playoff form. They've got a little bit of a weak offensive line, so maybe they can do something there. Steeler on the run, the defensive pass rush, but I don't see it happening, man. I think it's 2 touchdown game, KC.
Robbie, agree or disagree?
So this is one of those lines that sticks out to you and says, man, Vegas is begging you to bet Pittsburgh. They've got it so far of an outlier versus the other games. Huge Pittsburgh fan base. I think people are going to bet on Pittsburgh because of their heart. I look at this.
Are you insinuating that the amount of money spent or gambled is going to affect the outcome of this game?
I've heard a rumor. And so I think
the perpetual cynic, ladies and gentlemen. No comment. I'm the host. Thank God this time. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think Kansas City has a better coach, not by much, but a slightly better coach. They've got a much better quarterback at this time in their life. They've got more weapons. They've got more talent. They're at home. Even though it's a big, big, big playoff number.
Huge. And how many times sometimes you just get a feeling like the 1 seed losing, to the Colts or something, Jim Harbaugh. That's a big point spread. And, I think TJ Watt's playing. They can get after the Mahomes, but boy, is he athletic.
Filling out my bracket, this was my no-brainer of the pick, though. So I do think KC gets them by 2 touchdowns also. So I agree with Brandon. I'll take the points. I won't be betting it, but for the sake of this show, I would take the points.
Yeah.
So obviously
Agreed.
No need to ask straight up. I don't have a rational reason why I think Pittsburgh is going to cover. I think they will. I think there's going to be a Big Ben, blah, blah, blah. I think TJ Watt and whatnot are healthy. They can get after Mahomes. Pittsburgh has been there before. Tomlin, I think, is the longest tenured coach in the NFL, and that guy's done an amazing job. But I can't really justify it too well. I think Juju may be coming back, but he doesn't really change things at all. And that's my SC guy. So you guys are both pretty adamant about that pick. And, I think you're right, but I could see this being, like a 7-point or even less, maybe in a field goal for Kansas City to win at the end. And again, I can't justify that, but who knows? Moving on. The Pats at the Bills. The Pats are 4-point underdogs. Mac Jones, first game. I know we have a theory about seasoned vets and rookies in the playoffs. Robbie, does New England cover? Does Jones feel it in Buffalo? I have to look at the weather for this game, but
it's horrible.
What is your opinion on this one?
I think the high is 11 and the lows maybe -3. It's going to be a brutal slugfest. I'm going Buffalo in this one. I know it's silly to bet against Belichick, but we just saw this in Buffalo, how Belichick didn't, or maybe it was in New England. No, it was in Buffalo. How he didn't trust Jones to throw the ball and went one-dimensional, and he won. But Buffalo coaches get paid a lot of money too, and they got to adapt. And I just think that they're going to be like, okay, Josh Allen can throw in the wind. He can throw in the cold. We saw some of those throws he made. So I'll take the big arm quarterback to make the throws when he needs it versus I just don't think you're going to line up and run it 98% of the time again and win.
That's a good point, Shane. Do you think this could be a field goal game? And would you, if so, would you take, I want to get your opinion, but do you think this could be a field goal game? And is there any scenario where you'd take the Pats?
Yeah, absolutely. For both. So this is one of those I've got circled. It's actually on my upset alert watch. So
Ooh.
one thing you got to pay attention to. It doesn't matter if it's cold, but you really need to pay attention, come to game time, what the wind factor is doing. And that had a big influence on how Belichick schemed the game with, the rookie quarterback. So
great point.
And then you got to look at another factor, like which Mac Jones are you going to get? Are you going to get the Mac Jones that played against Miami, a couple turnovers here and there, or somebody that's been pretty serviceable and played complementary football? We've seen both sides of him. So it's really, this is like a primed game for me that you could easily see. Buffalo has one of the worst run defenses in the league. You've seen everyone run all over them. Buffalo is schemed and built as a team to beat a Kansas City Chiefs team, not a New England Patriots team. And they have stumbled along the way this entire year with teams just like the Patriots. So it's another tough matchup. I don't disagree with Robbie. It's hard to go against the big arm quarterback here, but Bill Belichick, he's the greatest for a reason. And that defense, New England defense, is solid. And if they can run the ball, and if it's not windy and Mac Jones that can actually not turn the ball over, I think they got a real good shot. And yes, I do think it's going to come within a field goal.
I'm with you guys. They should be glad, both teams, that this game's not on Sunday because there's AM snow showers. The wind was a great point. I think it's going to be 12 miles an hour on Saturday and Sunday. When you look at both teams, New England got hot in the middle of the year where they win like 6 in a row. They did not. Randall chimes in. Bill's on upset alert. So Rob doesn't agree with Shane and Randall. What a shocker. Pats won 6 in a row in the middle of the year. They end up losing 3 out of 4. Say what you will about week 18. Whereas Buffalo got hot in the beginning of the year. They kind of, waffled around, wavered around, whatever the expression is. I can't think anymore. During the middle of the year, and they ended up, winning 4 out of 5 with the only loss being week 18. I don't know. I can't recall if they sat a bunch of dudes or not. Another thing to consider, it's a divisional matchup. This is the third time playing. The Pats won the most recent one, 14-10. The last time when the Bills won, it was week 2. So
no,
I think it's going to be
the New England won first, and the Bills won recently.
Yeah, and they played kind of both games late in the season. It was because the Bills game was
New England won that 3-pass game, and then they just played 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Buffalo beat New England.
Yeah, it's been within the last 5-6 weeks for both games.
Okay. Disregard, because I thought something was odd, because when you look at ESPN and they list the schedule on the left-hand side, they used to start chronologically at the top and go down. Now they list the playoff game at the top. So I was under the impression that they would just kind of start at the bottom and build up, because I don't care about week 2. And why is that in the center of my screen? But yeah, the Bills, if that's the case, I guess the Bills finished with the Jets. That sounds right. So they won 4 in a row.
The Patriots just lost
at
to
New England.
Dolphins.
Buffalo
the
won.
Dolphins then fired their coach for no apparent reason.
That was the worst fire. He's
two winning seasons out of 3 years with Tua hurt 1 year, and I don't know. That's just idiotic.
Yeah, he's immediately a top candidate, for other places.
I want him, and I hate to say it, but Harbaugh as my 2 guys. Harbaugh was 44-19-1 in the NFL. we won't go down that path. But yeah, I did flip-flop it. So New England won in Buffalo most recently in a defensive ugly game, and then Buffalo won in New England. So that is interesting. I tend to side with Chain. I think it's more than a feeling on this one. God, please shoot me. At least I didn't sing it. Randall probably would, because he was like 35 when that song came out. I think it's going to pop up with him yelling at me. I think, with Belichick, and they know each other so well. Chain said the wind. Defensive ugly game. That's my opinion. Finally, in the AFC wildcard weekend, the game that I am going to in Cincinnati. I've been many times. It's changed quite a bit. I was there 20 years ago in graduate school, and it was one of the ugliest cities I have ever seen. Now it is amazing. Everything's on the waterfront, and for all of our benefits, there's a casino in the middle of downtown, a nice Harrah's. I need to check the legality of that. There's a reason why I'm not an attorney anymore, but yeah, for my hotel, I can walk to the game and walk to the casino afterwards. The only thing that would probably end my life is if there was a nudie bar nearby. Love you. Do the Raiders have a chance to win the game, Chain, or even to cover? It was at 5. The public bet it up to 5.5 today, I believe. Randall bashing is not allowed. Okay, then we have nothing to talk about. See you guys later. No. Can the Raiders win the game? Can the Raiders cover? The over-under's 49. What do you think?
I think the Raiders can definitely win this game. The Bengals, as explosive as their offense is and has been the last 3 or 4 games, I mean, Joe Burrow in this form is arguably one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best, in the league, the last 3-game span. But they've got a weak offensive line, and you get Max Crosby back there rushing Burrow. He's also been pretty comfortable in these last few games. He hasn't had a whole lot of pressure on him. You got Jamar Chase, running option routes wide open down the field. So I think this is one of those that could be, I want to take Cincinnati, and so does the public, just because how explosive they've been. And you saw the Raiders, kind of struggle there in the overtime, do everything they could to beat the Chargers, who, in my opinion, it was one of the best games I've seen. It was awesome to watch, just everything on the line, and the fact that they could tie and both go to the playoffs. I honestly believe that the Raiders would have ran the clock out if the Chargers wouldn't have called a timeout there at the end. And I think they would have tied the game. So there's a lot of controversy there. But anyway, I do think the Raiders could potentially win. It's really going to come down to the trenches. It's going to come down to the pressure on Burrow. He hasn't done well under pressure. So, favorites on Cincinnati. I'm a toss-up on this one. I'm going to call Cincy to win this, and I'm going to call Raiders to cover.
I like it. Go ahead, Rob. I know the Chargers were your Super Bowl pick. The Raiders did state that they probably would have gone for the tie if Brandon Staley – were you going to talk about that, Rob? Brandon Staley didn't call that timeout.
Yeah. So the Chargers were my
please.
Super Bowl talent without a Super Bowl coach. And so, yeah, they blew it. This one is one of the most intriguing games of the weekend for me. This is one of those you have to get your mind away from what you grew up knowing and everything that you know is true is not true anymore. The Bengals, you're used to they're choking dogs, and they are going to just lose, and they've always been bad. They've always been bad. The Raiders past Gruden have been dysfunctional. They're a bad team too. Well, and with Gruden this time, they were a bad team until they weren't. And then so you got a lot of momentum for the Raiders coming in. I like the home factor. Burrow and Chase, there's not a combination that's on a better page than them right now. They are reading defenses the exact same way. They are throwing it right where it needs to be thrown. My pick is exact same as you, Chain. I like Cincy to win in a close shootout, but I'm betting Raiders to cover. I think it's a 2 to 3 point game.
Yep.
5.5 to me is a hell of a lot of points in this game.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I mean, I'm just a defeatist and cynical from the Raiders. You said the Bengals are choke artists. The Raiders haven't even been good enough to choke. When they have been, they've choked.
That's fair.
This game is the second time they played. Now, they played 32-13, middle of the year in Oakland or Vegas. Don't get me started.
You're right.
But it was week 11, and that game was a 3-point game with 11 minutes and 42 seconds left in the game. The Raiders pulled a Raider. Full Derek Carr, and turned the ball over down the stretch, and Cincinnati, they wore him down. Mixon had 120 plus, and the time of possession was like double almost. It was crazy. Another game where, Burrow was sacked the third most amount of time in the league. I know he dropped back a lot, but yeah, that's our chance. By the way, on Twitter, I said something about Darius Phylon, who was the interior lineman, 96 in that Charger game, who was just destroying people. I've never seen him play like that. Made a joke, and it got 4,000 likes. So
nice.
I am apparently Twitter insecure. Usually it's just therapeutic, but I got 4,000 likes. Please love me. That's like Facebook and putting pictures
You're
of your
going
amazing
viral.
life. Yeah, I don't know. I was having that conversation, like what constitutes going viral? I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess anyone else
also,
out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Told you I talked too much. I was at the game in 1990, the playoff game, I think it was, or 91, when David Fulcher tackled Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson didn't go down. He kept fighting, and he ended up destroying his hip on that one seemingly innocuous play.
Yep.
So even though I lived in Cincinnati and they're fun to watch, I don't hate them. But when I think about Bo Jackson and Cincinnati, I hate them. That game was brutal. We lost that game, and Bo's career was over, and he could have been the greatest, in my opinion. Yeah. Athletically, there's no doubt. But yeah, I think the Raiders can get after Burrow. They're going to need some turnovers. Waller's back, but I think it'll be close until the end. And then Derek Carr will pull a car, and a late turnover like that earlier, 32-13 game, people looking just to score will think, oh, they got smoked. Again, 3-point game late, inopportune turnovers, fourth down failures. So I'm hoping the Raiders can cover or even win, but I don't think so.
It comes down to pass rush on that game, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you get to the playoffs, it's kind of like a different animal in the trenches, like you said. You've seen dudes just go unconscious as opposed to the regular season. Right. Who knows? And these guys aren't seasoned playoff teams, not Belichick back there. But, yeah, I'm with you. It's all there, and we're going to have to see. They're going to get after him, hopefully. And, yes, another reason why I'm not a great host is I am not objective. Let's go to the NFC. There's some pretty sweet games over here as well. I'm going to start with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus the Eagles in Tampa. Right now, it's almost at 9, and the over-under's 46. Shane, I'm going to go back to you again. What are your thoughts on this game? Can the above 500 Eagles hang with Brady in them week 1? Is there a Super Bowl hangover? Like, why are we in the wild card after last year? What do you think?
I mean, the Eagles defense is pretty good. I just think they're no match for Tom Brady. When Tom's in playoff form, I'm taking Tampa Bay in the points. They can actually run the ball. or sorry, the Philadelphia Eagles try and run the ball a lot, and they try and manage the clock. Now if you see them start to be able to do that at will and run a series down or 10 minutes down the field and take the ball out of Brady's hands, then there's going to start to be a little bit of a problem. But I don't see that. Tampa Bay's run D is pretty stout. So the Philadelphia, I mean, who have they even really beaten?
That's the point I was going to make.
Everybody
they did not beat one
played,
winning team.
Exactly, has been a losing team. So I think this is just kind of I would say a 10-point game in Tampa Bay's favor.
I'm with you. Real quick before we get to Rob, the Eagles have beaten Washington, the Giants, Washington, the Jets, sub 500 New Orleans and Denver, the Lions, 44-6. We all remember that game. The Panthers and the Falcons. Miles Sanders was on my fantasy team. He's made of glass. I agree with Chang. I think it could be a wash. Rob, I think you would agree with us, but I don't know. But do you think they can hit the over as well at 46?
So this is the classic you can only play who they put in front of you game. I obviously like Tampa to win. I do think, though, Philadelphia with that offense can control who's on the field when they're on the field. So I think they can keep Tampa off the field for a majority of the game. I think time of possession is probably 60-40 Philly. Now, what does that equate to? Does that equate to scores? Does that equate to field goals? Does that equate to just a lot of yards and points? That's to be determined.
Quick strikes by Brady and whatnot.
Yeah, I think, though, I like Tampa to win. I could see a garbage touchdown with a backdoor cover for the Philly. So I'm taking the Eagles plus 8.5. They're coming in just kind of getting it done. Brady knows more than anybody. It's win in advance. So if they get up by 8, 9, 10, hey, it's ball game. It doesn't matter if they score or not. You give me the ball last, we're going to win. I just think there's going to be a late touchdown. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout, though, on the other side. But if I'm going to bet on it, I'm going to take the points.
I agree. First of all, the Bucs are without Levante David, who's amazing. I think Philly can get outside. Philly's a fast team. Hurts is a dangerous guy. So I think the team speed aspect from the linebackers up now, Devin White's fast as heck. Shaq Barrett is as well. But I think your point about Brady and the Buccaneers, they were 13-4. They were the Super Bowl champion. They must be thinking, why are we playing in the wild card against a 9-8 team who beat no one? I don't think, I may have been contradicting myself, but I agree. I think the Eagles, even though the Bucs are far superior, on the more I think about it, I don't think the Bucs care. I think they're going to show up and win. Now that could be a playoff unbelievable upset. We don't know, but it is Tom Brady, so you got to go with that dude.
Even Tim Tebow won a playoff game.
Yeah, but
with Denver, that's right.
This game's going to come down
Denver
to. Sorry, this game's going to come down to putting it on Jalen Hurts' shoulders here. They're not going to be able to run the ball like they have been. I don't think they're going to control the clock like they have been. And
just come discredit all my theories.
Can Hurts? I know he can run and scamper, but I don't see it, man. So I disagree with both of you.
The
time of possession thing, I agree that necessitates them running the ball and chewing up clock.
It reminds me of the year Kansas City won the Super Bowl. They played a Tennessee team that absolutely kept them at bay because they kept Mahomes off the field and they They were up at half. If it wasn't for that miraculous Patrick Mahomes run, twirl, touchdown, 40-yard run or whatever, I think the Titans were in the Super Bowl that year. Like the Titans,
Right.
Mike Vrabel did what to the Chiefs what Philly needs to do to Tampa Bay.
I agree. But I just don't see them being able to control the clock like
Derrick
they're
Henry's not
used to
walking
doing.
through that door.
Right. Well, and their run defense is pretty good. So,
Shane, last quickly, yes or no for both of you? Over under? Does the over hit? 46.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Next game, we're going to be sort of like ESPN and end up with the Dallas Cowboys and the Niners because that's going to be the one that probably sets the ratings on fire. So the next game's the Rams and the Cardinals. That's what I want to talk about first. The Cardinals are a 4-point dog to the Rams in Los Angeles, where there were no doubt there's been pleas for Rams fans to not sell their tickets. It's LA, man. It's a destination. It's going to be interesting. Robbie, starting with you, the Rams have shown an ability to choke against very good teams. They blew it against the Niners, but Arizona didn't close very well. Can the Rams, Jalen Ramsey, keep Kyler Murray at bay?
I hate this matchup if I'm a Cardinals fan. I hate that it's in division. I hate that they've seen me twice already because I think the Cardinals took the Titans to the woodshed at the beginning of the year because it was a Kyler Murray that Titans aren't used to playing. It's hard to practice that in speed. The fact that they've seen them twice, this is one of those where your advantage of your uniqueness really doesn't play a factor anymore. Arizona, they've seemed to limp into the playoffs, and this seems to be a Cliff Kingsbury kind of thing, is just limp into the end of the season, almost like a rookie wall. This is a young coach's wall, and I don't know what it is. I mean, that's not really even a thing, but it just seems like it. And so I like the Rams in this when they're playing at home, air quotes. There'll be a lot of zonies there, but not that Arizona has the best fans either. But this is kind of like just a toilet bowl fan game. But I think the Rams are going to win at home. I think the Rams have more interior line talent, especially on the defensive end. Arizona's no slack, but I just think the Rams are going to get done. Arizona's trending in the wrong direction for me to put any money on them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember other than DeAndre Hopkins, who's obviously slowed. They don't have a ton of impactful injuries, and they did not close at all. Everybody looked tired. They have some of the fastest linebackers, Chandler Jones, who's stand up, Hicks, I guess Simmons, the Zayvon Collins dude. They should be running around, and they just look tired. I agree entirely. When the Rams are focused, they are a very, very good team. And Randall's text or statement was basically that the Rams defense is going to carry them. Rams do or die. I think he's riding them pretty far. So I like the Rams as well. I agree. It's not good to start out 7-0 and then S the bed. From that point, doing the math, they ended up 11-6. Ended up 4-6 down the stretch, and a lot of those losses were late, including to the Lions. The Colts messed them up. So I agree with you guys. I think they're tired, and I think the Rams hopefully have 50-50 in their home stadium. But I think they win by a touchdown or more. I'm actually saying 34-24. Do you guys think the over hits in that game? It is 49.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the over.
Astute analysis. Well, yeah, dummy. What do you think, Shane?
So the Rams haven't necessarily choked in these games. It's been Matthew Stafford who has choked in these games. And what have you seen of late has been Matthew Stafford resorting back to the Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford, like we've seen in the past, where, I mean, he's had 4 games with 3 or more turnovers this year, which is a higher baseline than he had in Detroit. He's also, leading second in touchdowns. I think he's got like 41, touchdowns. Cooper Kupp is having an insane year. We all know that. The talent's there. And Matthew Stafford, it just depends on which kind of quarterback you're going to get there. If he starts getting too cocky with it, I mean, he's going to turn the ball over. But I agree. I think the Rams pull this out. I think their defense does carry them. They've got one of the best defenses in the league. If Stafford can keep it to 1 turnover or less, I think they win this game. Because he's going to have at least one.
That's worse than Carr, the 3 or more.
4 games with 3 or more turnovers.
I mean, how do you win any of those games? He is a statue back there, fumbles the ball a lot, he gets sacked a lot. Like I said, the Rams, when they're focused, they were crushing the Niners early. They looked amazing, and then they just went to sleep. So it's the playoffs. I hope they're ready to go. Brandon Chain, the coach of the Rams, he's a heck of a coach.
And Matthew Stafford has never won a playoff game either. So that's also a little added pressure on the line for him. So does he have that extra umph where he tries to fit it in a tight window and turn the ball over? If it's a tight game, who knows? I agree with Robbie though. Seeing Kyler Murray run around, you can game scheme for that. You've seen it twice. You know how to plan for that. But offensively and defensively, the Rams are a better team, and statistically and on paper, they should win this game, barring Matthew Stafford not having 3 or more turnovers.
Agree entirely. Great points. Stafford, the narrative is, from theory to law, even going back to Georgia, when it's on the line, I'd rather have my mom at quarterback making decisions back there. My mom is 81, but
well, and then you got Kingsbury on the other side, who also, always S's the bed when it comes to play calling. So
I think the Rams will get past this game, but what about later games where they play maybe somebody else? And speaking of that, we're going to close up here. But before we get out, by the way, I want to roadmap it. After we do the Niners and Cowboys, I want to ask each of you your championship games and then your Super Bowl winner. So just so you know, Randall, you can cut us off after that. We're at 48 minutes and 15 seconds. I said an hour. If I shut the up, I think we'll make it. But let's go to that marquee game that I was surprised this wasn't the Monday nighter. It's the 4:30 Sunday game, I believe. The Chiefs and the Steelers got that kind of it's not Monday. It's the Sunday night game, the Steelers and Chiefs. This is Sunday at 4:30, if I can talk. The 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. Talk about an old school NFC matchup, arguably, along with Green Bay, the teams with the greatest lore and fan bases in possibly all football, but definitely in the NFC. Dallas is down. I don't know. What did this game open at? I'm going to ask Robbie. Actually, I'll start with Shane. What did this game open at? I can't remember, but Dallas right now is a field goal favorite at home, and the over-under is at 51.
So it started at 3. It stayed steady at 3, but it was at 49.5. Now bet up to 51.5.
Oh, wow. What do you think the Sharks are going to do? We'll start with you, Rob, then. What are the Sharks going to do before game time on Sunday?
Oh, I think if everyone's going over, they're going to hit it under. I think this is for our generation at least, this is nostalgia. This is going back to what 90s. We grew up in on the NFL. It was Niners, Cowboys every single year. Yeah. People younger than us, probably not so much. Neither team has been very successful since then. But this is Dion. This is Michael Irvin, Steve Young. This is every Troy Aikman. This is the game. So I'm excited to see it. I don't know exactly why the Cowboys are favored, though. I don't get that. You ran off the Eagles' terrible schedule earlier. The Cowboys played very similar teams. And so while the Niners played in the NFC West against Arizona and LA. So I think this is sorry, Cowboys fans, but this is another disappointment to no fault of their own. This is just a bad matchup. Kyle Shanahan, again, better coach than McCarthy. I think Dak and Jimmy G kind of cancel each other out, but better running game. Well, I don't say better running game, better running scheme. I think Ezekiel Elliott's as good as the Niners running backs collectively, but a better running scheme with the 49ers, better wideouts with the Niners, better defense with the Niners. A better up front defense. I think this is a man, we made the playoffs, but what are we doing here from the Cowboys? So I like the Niners and give me points. Yeah, this would be my bet your nuts pick also. Niners +3.
I forgot about our nuts.
Yeah.
Shane, what's the Randall throwing up the boo Dallas, the anti-Cowboys. I'm with you. By the way, it's the 41-year anniversary of the catch.
I don't care the Cowboys one way or the other.
Yeah, Randall does. Randall obviously cares. 41 years ago, the catch happened. Monday was the anniversary. Niners and Cowboys, Dwight Clark. But that's only for old people like me. Shane, first question is, what do you think the spread is at game time?
I think it'll hold strong at 3. I don't think that line is going to move very much. Maybe it could drop to 2.5. You can see that side of it, but so this is a typical Dallas big stage game where I have yet to see them win a big stage game, and they somehow, some way screw it up every time. I mean, you look at the on paper and the statistic. I mean, these guys should win this game, but they are going to have the biggest problem accounting for Deebo Samuel. I don't see. Shanahan does such a good job moving him around from running the ball to slot to out wide. I mean, reverse. I mean, he's all over the place, and the Cowboys are going to have a hard time trying to keep up with him. And then if they do, and they try and double team him, then you got Brandon Ayuk, you got George Kittle, Elijah Mitchell coming in the backfield, who's also a great pass catcher, by the way. I think Dallas is going to have their hands full, and I think the public, because it is Dallas, they're gonna bet hard on Dallas on this, and I think the sharps are going to come in. And if that line does drop at all, I don't think it's going to move much. If it does, maybe half a point. They're going to hammer 49ers, and Dallas is going to go back to Jerry World with their tail tucked between their legs.
So much pressure on Dallas. So much.
You guys, you mentioned a lot of the 49ers. I didn't hear the former South Carolina Gamecock, I believe, Deebo Samuel, who they use lined up in the backfield. They run him in motion. That guy is amazing. He is a beast athletically. I think it was South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm. I did say Deebo Samuel. That's who I was talking about.
Oh, I'm losing.
You didn't hear me? I just said they're going to have to account for Deebo Samuel. That's going to be their biggest problem, is Deebo Samuel.
Good point. Yeah.
So we concur.
I am 45, so bear with me. Technical difficulties and hearing difficulties. Good for me. I'm with you guys. I think the Cowboys win straight up, or the Niners win straight up, big stage, Thanksgiving Day. They end up blowing it. They haven't won a playoff game we used to dog on Romo for finding ways to lose and dropping holds as the ball as the holder. Another thing to consider is the Niner defense is third in the league in yards allowed. They are top 10 in both rushing and passing defense. The Cowboys are not. Let's just put it that way. Even though Micah Parsons is, I believe, the highest graded defender by PFF, an amazing pick, freakishly athletic. Overall, I'm taking the Niners. I think they win straight up. I think they win by a touchdown. I'm with you guys.
Yeah.
Better coach.
I was going to say,
that's the bet of the weekend.
coaching thing.
Niners +3. That's the bet of the weekend.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you look at McCarthy. He's just, I mean, he's a name that's been out there or whatever. He had Aaron Rodgers. He's not a great coach. And, you know, Jason Garrett before, poor Dallas, you know, they've stacked the team with talent and they just could not figure out the coaching side of it. I mean, they're getting out coached. I mean, they should be winning these big stage games. They need to be better prepared, and they're not. I mean, and it's obvious the talent's there. They just can't do it. And there's not going to be an answer to this game either. And they're just going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, they have the most hands-on owner in sports. And so you can't get top flight coaches to go there because like Bill Parcells had them winning, and like Tony Romo doesn't drop that snap. They beat Seattle. They're moving on the playoffs. And since then, it's been we can't get big names to go there because Jerry Jones just keeps meddling in the day-to-day business. Like,
yeah, no. And that's exactly where it starts is with Jerry Jones. And you've got to get the right somewhat of a name to agree to listen to whatever Jerry tells you and do what Jerry says instead of, especially these young up and coming coaches that have minds of their own and schemes of their own that want to try their own deal. And you come into an old school guy like Jerry, he's gonna be like, this is what we're gonna do. This is what our
this
image
is how I won
is.
with Troy
this
and
is how,
Michael.
Yeah. He's just not, conforming and adapting to the new NFL. This was old school NFL. That's why we talked about these matchups. You ran the ball. I mean, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, back in the day. We watched this in the 90s. This is no longer the case. Like you said, it's more of an acrobatic, athletic type game, and they're just not conforming. And the talent's there on the Cowboys. Yeah, well, the talent's there on the Cowboys. They can't be.
Honestly, the only team that plays old school, really NFL football is the Titans. They're the number 1 seed, and so while the proof is that it's available to still play, there's only one Derrick Henry walking through that door. Like they don't make that. I mean, he's Chris Johnson with 3 times the body mass. That guy's an enormous freak.
But
he's a freak.
To add to that, look at what the Titans did without him and how they continue to withstand that image and continue to run the ball.
Yeah, well, the schemes changed though, so the defense isn't putting 8, 9 in the box anymore. So they're backing up, so you can run the ball.
Right, and also the passing game has fallen off. So Deontay Foreman's been able to run the ball.
Yeah, which bodes
good
well.
Back, great line. He did amazing.
Defense comes up. AJ Brown and Julio should be wide open.
I know it's a catch-22 there. So I mean, pick your poison when we're fully.
I know that you guys are Titan pumpers ordinarily. When you learn to win without your best player that everybody thinks is the reason why you win, that's a good thing. And they surprised me. I didn't think they'd end up the 1 seed. Didn't look like they would. They were trying different backs, I know. But, they have 2 great backs now. I wouldn't call Foreman great, but very, very good. And
he's
confident what he is. Confidence is
absolutely.
everything.
He was good at Texas. Mike McCarthy, I call him Mr. Potato Head. Every time they look over, he's got like that squiggly, and he's like flustered, like a full-blown alcoholic. His cheeks are all bright red. You just want to pinch him, a cherub, if you will. Jerry Jones, Al Davis were very good friends. Both of them have egos that are tremendous. Al Davis is not nearly as egotistical, though, as Jerry Jones. They call it Jerry World. His ego's bigger than that stadium, and I've been there a few times. It's huge. If you steal the spotlight from him, it's not going to end well. He ran Jimmy Johnson out, and that's him. I mean, that's Jerry. He's a meddling owner. He thinks he knows more than anybody else, maybe in business, but yeah, his ego is his downfall, and pride comes before the fall. He is going to, I don't think he'll win another one, but that's top 5 NFL talent on that team.
Yeah, the talent's there, the structure's not.
Absolutely. No, you're good. I'm going to go first with Bet Your Nuts, and then I'm going to end with your AFC, NFC, and finally your Super Bowl winner. We're at an hour, so I was wrong again.
Are we gonna blow our load on the Super Bowl? We're coming on next week. We'll have
No. I'm just gonna ask straight up. Don't give me answers. I mean, don't give me rationale. Okay. I want your teams, and then your Super Bowl winner. That's it. No more talking. Randall's ready to flip the switch. Right. So I want to start with Bet Your Nuts. Shane, what are you going with?
My Bet Your Nuts is Arizona in NCAA basketball tonight. They play, I think, in 50 minutes maybe, versus
somebody
Colorado.
In the pack that blows.
Colorado minus 15.5. Bet Your Nuts, Arizona. It's at Arizona. Bet Your Nuts on
their
that.
Starting 5 is ridiculous.
They're good. And Colorado is.
Sorry, I cut you off. Rob and I talk about this though. We both do much better in any other sport, I think, betting wise, aside from racing for Rob, at college basketball. The reason why I bring that up is the NFL. Literally, I will pick a team and then do the opposite. And I end up winning more than what I ordinarily do. Quickly, I'm going to go the Niners game, unless, Rob, that was yours. But was that your Bet Your Nuts?
Well, I've got a additional one also for the kids.
I know, that's what I'm saying. All right. So I wanted to say that quickly and let you close it out. Robert Davis. I just go Robert.
All right.
What are your Bet Your Nuts picks? Because I know you like this segment.
So, yes, San Francisco's an obvious. Lay the big money on them. San Francisco getting 3. If you have to mortgage your house, do it. The second pick, though, this is more like just take out a second mortgage on your house, or maybe just grab a couple thousand out of your HOE, home equity, I don't know what it is. But anyways, HELOC. So we don't know what the line is yet because college basketball is the worst at putting out lines. But Tennessee goes to Kentucky on Saturday. It's a 1:00 tip. I know everyone's gonna say Kentucky at home, and you always are wrong about the Vols picks, but this one's rock solid. So Rick Barnes owns Calipari,
especially in Kentucky, right?
It's in Kentucky.
Fulkerson's
going to be the first player to ever win 4 times in Rupp Arena. I think Rick's like 8-6 against John. So yeah, the momentum's on his side. They've got a bunch of 5 stars. Calipari's team just matches, or Barnes' team matches up against Calipari's better. It's almost like Will Wade matches up against Rick Barnes. Just trust me on this. You don't have to understand what I just said, but just bet the Vols. They're going to win.
I get it. Matchup wise,
you can take the points. Barnes. You can take the points if you don't like free money. If you love free money, money line.
I see it being like a field goal game. I know it's basketball, but line like 3 to 5 points in Kentucky's way. And Tennessee just matches up well with them, even when they weren't great. They've beaten Kentucky. I remember they won in Lexington a few years ago, and they had no business winning that game. Those are your Bet Your Nuts. We're about to close it out. I want to close it out with, as I mentioned, if Randall wants to type, he can't talk right now. If he wants to give us his picks, no rationale, straight up. Brandon Chang, who is in the AFC Championship?
Titans in Kansas City.
Titans in Kansas City. Rob, AFC Championship.
Exact same.
Tend to agree with you both, but there's always upsets. And if there's a team that I think is more vulnerable to the upset, I think KC may be more vulnerable this week. Overall, the Chiefs were really rolling, and I don't think it's a great matchup for the Titans. You know, I could see somebody like Cincinnati sneaking in. So I don't think I picked the Bengals to go all the way, just for the sake of diversity. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with, just flip a coin here. Yeah. I do think it'll be those two teams. If somebody can get in, I'm going with the Bengals. Finally, who wins those games? Who's in the Super Bowl? And Shane, who is the Super Bowl
Wait, we're not going NFC? NFC Championship?
Oh, yeah. Minor detail. Told you I suck at being a host. NFC, Rob, who's in the championship game?
I got Green Bay and the Rams.
Green Bay and the Rams. Shane?
I got Tampa Bay, Green Bay.
I tend to agree with Shane. I could see the 49ers getting in. That's kind of my watch out for them. But the Rams and Stafford, Shane said it earlier. I see them blowing it at some point. They probably have the most talented roster up there with Tampa. I don't think Green Bay's as talented overall in Kansas City. So
LA comes down to Stafford.
I'm with you.
LA comes down to Stafford. That's the bottom line. Everything else is lined up perfectly. So
agree. And you're going to play some serious defenses late in the playoffs, and we know how he does there.
This is
finally
this bracket's so exciting. It's going to be an awesome 3 weeks.
A good plus for Stafford to help him out is Cam Akers is back, and if he can actually start producing a little better, I think that's really going to help Stafford out, especially in play-action games. So, anyway, sorry, sidebar.
No, that's why I'm the host. You guys are the featured talent. We want to hear what you have to say. Finally, let's close with who's in the Super Bowl. Just answers. I don't want to hear rationale, any of that. Randall says, he's giving his, he's saying Pats versus Chiefs in the AFC Championship, Packers versus Bucks. And I don't know who's picking for a Super Bowl. Randall, hurry up and type.
Tell that mute guy we don't care what he has to say.
Yeah.
Seriously. He types better than he talks, though. That's surprising. He's spelled everything right. Wow. Just kidding.
It's better. It's better than a text message when he tries to voice the text to us. It always you can never understand what he's saying when he voices the text to us.
Yeah, he's ordering food from an exotic country or something. I have no idea. Finally, though, you guys, both of you, we'll start with Shane. Who's in the Super Bowl? Who's the winner?
Man, I'm going to be a homer here, and I'm going to call the Titans in it because I think we actually can. You know, we're built to beat KC. We beat them last year. You know, if we make it that far, I think we can do it. But I think this year is Green Bay's year, man. Like they're all things are lining, stars are aligning for them. Everybody's starting to come back. They're getting healthy. Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind. Those two teams are in the Super Bowl. Did you ask for a pick too, like Super Bowl champion?
Yeah, just one. Give me one team.
And no explanation, but
oh yeah, sorry, I missed that part.
No, just give me. Yeah, let's do that quickly. Super Bowl champion is
the Titans. I'm going to be a homo.
Shocker. Rob, who we going with?
I'm going with Kansas City versus the Rams for the second straight year. A team hosts a Super Bowl, and they do not win, though. I got KC winning it.
Nice.
Respect. You know, Shane, you're not just a homer. You gave the rationale quickly. Rob taking the Chiefs over the Titans. I agree with you. Randall said first he said no Randall bashing. Yeah, we're not going to adhere to that one. Randall says Packers 31, Chiefs 27. I'm going out on a limb. I like the Niners getting there and the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs lose 2 in a row. I agree. That is all. Thank you for putting up with us. Sorry, I'm old and I guess I'm Pakistani as opposed to Indian because I can't figure out a phone. My kid
Wait,
dropped it in the
do
tub.
you have a computer though?
I do, but it's my work computer and you can't hear jack. It's even worse than this. And he hasn't used it in the
You don't have a
bathtub yet,
personal
but that's
computer?
probably coming. It's an old Dell, and don't get me started on that.
You don't have a personal computer?
No, use the work. Wife has a laptop work. We do not have a desktop or personal computer at this
Not
point.
even a Chromebook? They're like
An
I have a
iPad?
Chromebook.
they're like
We have a
$200.
Chromebook. I have a Chromebook. I have an old iPad too. And why are we talking about this? I have no freaking idea. And
Wow.
Amazon Fire, whatever. But yeah, I think I brought it up. So, anyways,
Because you
so
can't.
Randall
make
Cunningham, get
technology
well
work.
soon. I like to talk a lot, so I don't want to be a host again. Actually, I enjoyed it and
Man, you
shut
did
me
great.
up, so that's good.
Good
Yeah,
job.
that was very well. I would have talked
Yeah.
way more than you did.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that for Brandon Chain and finally,
Hopefully, Gary Chain stuck through the whole event and watched till the end.
Yeah, we'll see.
uh,
I'll report back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put your house on it, your mortgage, for myself and for
Yeah,
Robert
you're down in
Davis.
San Francisco.
That's reckless speculation, bro.
Yep.
We'll end on that. Thank you for watching and listening. Randall, get well soon.
Yeah, get well, Randall. It sounded
Somebody
pretty bad.
text